And so what I want to do today is just give you ladies a few pointers of how to get started. How do you get back into work or get started with work when you just have absolutely no experience? So like I said, this was requested from women in the community. They showed so much interest in it, and so I'm going to give you a few pointers today. So I'm going to share my screen as always, and I hope you enjoy. All right, ladies, let's get into the discussion. We're going to talk today about getting back into the workforce, or just starting out. This could be for you who's starting out or people who's trying to get back and just don't know where to start. So this is just going to be a few tips to help you get started. All right, so keep in mind that this was designed to be in sessions, and so what I'm going to do today is just cover like the basics. It's not going to be sessions. And so what we're going to talk about is obtaining skills, volunteering, how to find volunteer opportunities, and we're not going to get into the different type of skills today. So, as most of you already know, when you're trying to look for work, people expect you to already come in with skills, right? With some type of skills. Jobs are looking for candidates who has the skills that they need to perform their job responsibilities. Now, that's easy, right? For somebody who might have been working for years and might already have these type of skills, but what if you're not one of them? What if you've been out of work for 10 years? What if you got laid off or you was a stay-at-home mom and so you never had a chance to obtain any of these skills? Then what do you do to get started, right? Now, that's the tricky part. You might want to get back out there and get to work, but you just don't have any of the skills. So I want to get into that. I want to tell you how you can get started. Let's talk about volunteerism. A lot of times volunteering gets a bad rep because people think of it and they think, I don't want to work for free, right? I don't want to be out there for hours and just not get paid. Well, let me just say this. There are some volunteer experiences these days that do pay you. But even if they didn't, ladies, we have to start somewhere. So volunteerism is a great way to get started and to gain some experience without having any experience, okay? So if you've been out of work for so many years, sacrifice a little bit more and try to do this, even if it means you're not getting paid, just to get the experience. In addition to the other benefits of volunteering, here's some more additional benefits, okay? So you'll gain a better understanding of the industry or field, which is extremely important because so many of us think we want to do a thing until we're doing that thing, right? And then we realize, you know what, maybe this is not the best career for me. I don't really like this type of work. And so this is why volunteering is great, because it gives you an opportunity to learn about the field before you actually go into work into it. It's a test drive, right? This is a test drive of the job that you think you might want, but you might not really want. And also it's an opportunity to contribute to the community. So there's a lot of nonprofits, there's a lot of powerful organizations out there that with a great cause that help people in the community, and they don't have the money to pay the staff right now. And so when you get involved, this is a great way to be helping and giving back to your community. And so let's talk about some of the ways you can find volunteer opportunities, right? It's easy to say, go volunteer, but where, right? So look it up, do your research, do some homework. Everybody doesn't have computers, I understand that. Go to the library, they have free computers. Fine, look up nonprofits, look up jobs in the industry that you're interested in, and make phone calls. Find out if they're looking for volunteers. I guarantee you somebody's going to be looking for volunteers. So just like I said, do your homework, do your research, make some phone calls, go use the computer in the library to find out about volunteer opportunities. And when you find some in the industry that you're interested in, get in there and volunteer and do some volunteer work. And again, that's a good test drive to see if you really like that type of work, and also is a way to gain some experience. So I think this goes without saying. If you want to get to work, you have to have a resume. right? You have to begin to build a resume. So always make sure your resume is up to date. Your resume should be well organized and easy to read. Very important. Good resumes and good interviews lead to job offers. So again, if you don't have any experience, that's a little bit tricky, right? But most of us, especially by the time we reach adulthood, have done some type of work. So try to think of the skills you've done in that job, whatever job it was, and play that up on your resume. And then if you don't have any skills, like we said before, do some volunteer work, and that will give you some skills and some work to add to your resume. And of course, if you're going to school or anything like that, there's a lot of internship opportunities. So look into opportunities like that. Peer education is another one. It's a chance to help people in your community. And a lot of times you might receive a small stipend, and this is also another way to build up your resume. So again, do your research, find out who are looking, what companies are looking for peer educators, volunteers, or anything like that, so you can begin to build up your resume. So when looking for jobs, you have to evaluate the offers to select the one that works best for you. One very important tip. When you're looking for work, remember, they're benefiting from you just as much as you're benefiting from them. So remember what you bring to the table. And remember that you have a right to be choosy just as much as they do. So look at the job offer. Make sure they're paying the right amount of money for you. Make sure it's the right environment for you before you decide to take it, because you have a right to be choosy. This is a company that you're going to work for. So, pick and choose. Pick based on what you want and what you need. Okay? It's not all about them. It's also about what you want and what you need. This is a big one. Does the company have a good reputation? This is a big one. Again, you got to look into the company too. It's not all about them and what they want. What about your needs? These days, it's easy to do a search, right, and to see reviews on a company. See what people said about this company. See what their experience was working there. See the reputation of this company before you choose to work there, because chances are, if this company has sort of a bad reputation, it's out there. Somebody's talking about it. And so you need to look good and get the facts before you decide to take a job within that industry. When you're going on that interview, these are some of the things to ask, like, does the company offer training? Because training is very important, right? If you want to perfect your craft, right? You need training. We all need ongoing training. Information change, things change. To get better at something, you need training. And if this company is not offering training, then it might not be a good fit for you. How is the people when you go on that interview? You'll see, right? You'll usually get a good idea of the people's attitudes within that company, of how nice they are or aren't. And some of them might even sneak and give you a little hint, like, this is not the place. This is not a good company to work for. They might even sneak and give you that hint. So please pay attention to this stuff, because this could be a big warning if one of the staff members show poor attitude or pull you to the side and say, look, this is not the best company. This is probably a big warning of things to come, and maybe you should look elsewhere. And then, of course, make sure this company is safe. When you go there, when you're doing your research on it, make sure this is a safe environment for you. Make sure this is an environment that you feel safe in. This is one of the things that I heard from one of the women in the community. They did some volunteer work to get back to work, right? But she was in recovery. And the company she was working for helped a lot of addicts, a lot of active users. And so working in that environment was very triggering for her. So you have to know what you're willing to tolerate and what you're not. And I thought that was a fabulous point, that like she didn't feel comfortable continuing to volunteer there when it was triggering for her. So it's like, know yourself. Know yourself, know what you can tolerate, know what you will not tolerate. If it's a job that puts you at risk in some sort of way, or maybe you might risk your recovery, then it might not be the best place for you. So this is another thing, and we talked about this in our health workshop, right? We want jobs that offer benefits. And some of those benefits includes health insurance, right? Because we women of color, right? We talked about improving our health and having how important having health insurance is. So you want to make sure that they have good benefits. You want to make sure that they have health insurance because it's very important to have good health insurance if you want to stay on top of your health and go to the doctor. Will a work be interesting and challenging to you, but not more than you can handle? That's important too, because you want a job that's exciting. You want a job that's challenging, right? You don't want it to be too easy. You want something that you can use your brain. But at the same time, you don't want a job where it's going to require you to stay hours after work. And a lot of jobs do not pay for overtime. So you want to make sure that it's not too overwhelming, not too challenging, not something that's going to cause burnout. So when you go for a job interview, we might not like it, but we are being judged on our appearance, and that's just the way it is. So you have to make sure that you're dressed well, and I know that a lot of us cannot afford this, and there are programs for it. There's a program called Dress for Success that provides free clothes for women to go on job interviews. So please look that up if you need clothes. But other than that, if you have the clothes or if you need the clothes, you should always make sure your clothes is freshly pressed. The length of your skirt, like, you have to pay attention to this. And I'm one of these people that say women should be allowed to dress however we want to dress, right? But not on the interview, because they will judge you. So if your skirt might be too short, you might be judged for that and you might not get the job. So make sure your skirt is down to your knee, or wear longer pants. You can just wear pants. If you don't feel like being bothered with all of that and measuring the length of your skirt, just wear some pants. So make sure at the bottom of your pants are not dragging the floor. If you're wearing heels, hemline of your pants should fall between the top of the heel and the mid of the heel. So in other words, make sure you look neat, make sure you look professional. You don't have to have on a business suit. You do not. Just make sure you're professionally dressed. It doesn't have to be super formal. Just have on a nice blouse, nice pair of pants, professional dress pants, no jeans, no sneakers, and you should be good to go. And just make sure you present yourself. So those are a few tools that's needed to get started when you're trying to get back into the workforce. Of course, there's so much more, and we'll get into this in our live session. But these are a few things to get started. But remember, the most important thing I want you to really take away from this is volunteer. It can help your community. It'll help you build experience, and you'll be doing a great service at the same time. So I hope you found this helpful, ladies. And of course, I'll post a link to the live session when we're ready to have it. And other than that, just reach out to me if you need any more tips or advice. And I hope you found that helpful. Have a great day.